Hi, my name is Kat Kerr, and today we're going to be creating this Halloween-inspired shadow box using a Grafix craft plastic. Now today I'm going to be using this frame that I created a couple of weeks ago, but you can use any kind of frame or shadow box that you have on hand. I painted it black with some acrylic paint, and then I took a piece of chipboard black and I cut it down to fit the back of the frame, and then I added some Amsterdam acrylic ink in like a pearlescent purple color. I just swiped it across using a card, and then I added some white splatters and created some holes. Now for the haunted house, I'm using black craft plastic, and I also am going to be using my Cricut maker to cut it out. Now I did use a haunted house SVG file that I purchased on the Cricut Access website, but it was I believe 99 cents, but if you have your own files you can most definitely use those. So I cut it out, and then I added a little bit more of some pearlescent ink to the house just to help it stand out a little bit, but this time I am using more of a metallic green color. And then once I finish adding the color, I add a sheet of double tack dry adhesive film to the house portion of the design, and I did that so that I would have some adhesive exposed in the windows so that I could add some glitter and add a little bit of sparkle. Now, I originally put some foam dots on the back of the house, but I decided I wanted a little bit more dimension, so I'm using 1/4 inch foam instead, and I applied it again using some double tack dry adhesive film. Now, while working on this project, I received a new toy in the mail, and so I had to test it out with the craft plastic. So here I am using a Sizzix Big Shot Plus along with the black craft plastic, and I'm cutting out these leaf-shaped designs. I remove the excess and I start adding color to the black craft plastic using acrylic paint and gold acrylic ink. Now I also decided at this point that I wanted some sort of light feature, and so I decided to cut down that background to fit inside of the shadow box instead of on the back. And I added a light feature, added some foam, and then I covered up the back with another piece of that black chipboard. Next, I'm adding some strips of double tack dry adhesive film along the border of the background, and then I add some black Dresden trim. Next, I place that haunted house into the shadow box. Now, as I was planning out this shadow box, I knew I wanted to incorporate some sort of a 3D tombstone, dimensional tombstones, and I ended up finding these at my local craft store, and they're the perfect size, and I adhered them inside the shadow box using that double tack dry adhesive film. Next, I added the image of the two little boys, and then I added some texture to the bottom of the shadow box using some liquid adhesive, and then I just sprinkled on some seed beads as well as these little foam orange balls that kind of reminded me of pumpkins. Next, I'm using some acrylic paint to add a weathered look to some of the elements, the pumpkin as well as some of the paper and even the shadow box. Next, I'm adding that final element, which includes some of the black craft plastic leaves that I cut out, as well as the wooden elements that I painted. And then this shadow box is done. I had so much fun creating this Halloween-inspired shadow box, and I used to make these all the time, but I haven't made one in a long time, so I think that's why I really enjoyed creating each and every layer. So for more ideas on how to use Grafix craft plastic, as well as double tack dry adhesive film and Grafix chipboard, make sure you visit grafixarts.com. Thanks for watching.